Hi, hello. Welcome to Dear PB, a podcast where we hopefully help you become a better speedrunner, but probably won't. I'm Corva May, but you can call me May, or she, or her.
I'm Swoos. You can call me SWC, or he, or they.
And joining us from the Mushroom Kingdom, it's Tippi.
Hi.
Introduce yourself more thoroughly.
Okay, I basically am mostly a Mario speedrunner, although lately I've been playing more Pokemon, but generally I'm known for Mario because I've played basically all of the 3D ones. I think so. Mostly Odyssey, but all of them at this point, I'd say.
And we've brought her on today to play Mario 64, which is definitely what I thought it was going to be yesterday.
Yeah, me too.
So you guys start whenever you want.
Sure, yeah. I'll just do it now.
Cool. And then, if you're not aware, it's because this is the first time that you've watched our show, this is an advice show where you send in questions and then we answer them and help you be a better speedrunner than you were before listening, in theory. And if you're listening to this in the podcast app and you're wondering what we're talking about in terms of the speedrun, there is a YouTube channel where you can watch a run during it, but it's not really the focus. It's just if you like something to have to watch too. All right.
Yeah, that made sense.
All right. We like to start out with some questions for the runner before we that we came up with before we ask questions that other people came up with. What's the run that got you into speedrunning?
What's the run that got me into speedrunning?
Yeah, how'd you get into this whole hobby?
Fun. I would say, honestly, originally when I started speedrunning, I didn't stream originally. It was actually Perfect Dark, and that wasn't like a full game. That was like ILs, because that game's very IL heavy.
Mm-hmm.
So it was more like, I would just, because that game would basically give you a mission time every time you finish the mission, so it would just be me grinding each level individually over and over again, because the game just kind of heavily encouraged it. And this was like before the internet was really like big like it is now, because this was I'm like old. I'm an old speedrunner.
What year was this roughly?
If I had to put a year on it, it was definitely pre-20. It was definitely pre-20 2006, let's say.
Okay.
So this was like long ago.
Makes sense.
Yeah. As the resident speedrun zoomer, yeah, that's a hot minute. What grade was I in?
Somewhere in the middle. I was 8 years old then.
I was in middle school. Apologies if for anybody who now feels really old listening to
it's okay.
this.
I'm the youngest one here, and I still feel old.
Yeah, that's fair. So why just switch to Mario from the Perfect Dark? Was it imperfect?
Yeah, exactly. No, I actually still really love the game, but honestly, I only started running Odyssey because I played the game casually, and it was basically, I'm gonna get on in this new Mario game because it's popular, and if I get in at the ground level, I'm gonna be good at it, and then I'll grow my stream, and it kind of worked.
I mean, that makes sense, yeah.
Yeah.
The business of speedrunning.
Yeah,
girl boss your way to the top.
What was I gonna say? It's gone now. That's actually that's the same reason why I got into running the longer side of the categories for that game, was because no one else was doing it, so I kind of monopolized it.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah, that's my favorite thing. Is like you can get a world. It's easier to get a world record if nobody does the thing. Whether because nobody's interested in it, or because nobody in their right mind would do it. Both of which are things.
One does imply the other.
Yeah. All right, so as we mentioned before, people do send us some questions, and then we do answer them. Yeah. And the first question we have is, Dear PB, is speedrun stamina a thing, and can it be trained? I see not only people who are able to do 7+ hour speedruns like Final Fantasy or Pokemon Catch-em-alls, but also people who can sit and do resets/attempts for like 8 hours. Is this something that can be learned, or does it come naturally? From Petered Out Player. And this one was specifically asked for you, as you are maybe quite, I would argue, infamous for the longest runs ever.
Well, I feel like my take on this is kind of like basic. I've never had an issue just sitting down and playing a game for a long time, and it feels very dismissive to say I just can. It's hard because I've never. It's hard to give advice for something like that because it's never been something that I've struggled with. But then also, to be fair, I feel like it's a lot easier when you just have that time. I don't know. It's something that I've just kind of... I was never really restricted on game time when I was younger. So I feel like that's just kind of benefited me for stuff like this now. It's weird. I mean, I feel like I don't know if it's a skill necessarily, but it's something that you just kind of get used to the more you do it.
The way I feel about it is it's like, yes, there isn't like a intrinsic element to how much of what you're willing to put up based on like just how your like brain works. Like I tend to have trouble doing really, really long streams just because like my ADHD brain just gets sick of it essentially. But you can also create an environment where it's better essentially, right? Like if you have an active chat, if you have like if you prepare ahead of time to have food and stuff, then it's more manageable too.
I will say, yeah, definitely having an active chat definitely helps. Definitely a lot there. The time goes by a lot faster when you have people to talk to, and I do have a mini fridge on hand for that kind of like food management.
Ooh,
so
that's
I
smart.
guess,
yeah,
The speedrun mini fridge.
that's smart. Yeah. Yeah, I would like. There have been streams where I just keep going just because chat's really active and I'm having a good time, and there are also streams where I'm just like an hour and a half into a 3-hour run, going, I don't want to do this anymore because I'm just like, even though like the run's going okay, just because I've like no one to talk to essentially.
Yeah,
If you're just sitting there in silence for 8 hours, you're gonna hate yourself. But if you're keeping yourself busy with things unrelated to the game, then you're kind of not so much autopiloting, but like not putting your full focus and attention, you get burnt out less quickly.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, I will say even like even though it's less common nowadays, there are definitely lulls in my chat at time, but that's when it's definitely hardest. Because I feel like as well as a content creator, you kind of feel like you're obligated to step up and be more entertaining, even if some people stream just to record their runs, and that's totally fine. But I feel like, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I feel a sense of pressure to be entertaining just because I'm live.
Right.
Yeah, like I get stressed out over dead air, for example.
Yeah,
which, if you listen to this podcast, might be surprising to learn.
We've never had before.
We've never had dead air in this podcast before.
No, never.
I actually relate to that because I relate to that because I feel like I have to have music on in the background, otherwise I will start stressing because there's just nothing happening. Like there's no audio coming from me.
Parts of games where it's just like silence because there's something like building up to it. If like you have nothing to talk about during that part, it's just so bad. Just alone with your thoughts.
Sure. And especially in a speedrun setting where it's literally, as an example, a recent example, but sure, I know May at least knows, like, let's say Arceus, it's like half an hour of just nothing in the gameplay.
Yeah,
so you kind of feel like you gotta say something.
It's more than half an hour.
And the same jokes only work so many times in the game.
That's not true.
And people know them.
Yeah.
And it's partially true.
That's not true. You can use the same jokes forever, and they never get old. That's why I've made the same "if it sucks, you can leave" joke on over half the episodes.
You can, but I don't know. Me, I can't use the same joke forever because I just...
No, I'm kidding.
I get sick of myself.
Yeah. It's like, I've said this 35 times. Is it really still funny? No. Am I gonna say it anyways? Yeah.
That's a new one.
Yeah, long runs are...
Wait, what that
that was
that was weird. What? I don't understand.
Don't worry,
Mario
it's
64.
Mario.
Everything's
Mario
going great.
six-
This is intentional. Yeah.
It's Mario 64. Don't worry.
I don't understand Mario 64. For the benefit of our audio listeners, I don't know what happened. It was
I was
confusing.
looking for an explanation. You won't get
If
one.
anything ever looks weird in this game, it is just because, honestly, it's old.
Yeah,
No, that
And
makes
physics is
sense.
all
I've
weird.
played this. I've played and watched runs of this game, and I still don't really understand what's going on. Dear
I'd say
PB,
there's. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
oh, go ahead.
I was
okay.
just going to say there's also
Oh.
partial jitters because I'm in a different setting than I usually am.
Okay.
That's just expected.
Well, this is the podcast where we produce the world's most scuffed runs, so don't worry.
Yeah. If you had a good run, we are not doing our job correctly. So
Yeah,
you're doing
that
great.
means we're not. That means we're not asking enough questions. So we have too much dead air.
Or
Which
our
both
questions
have
are just so
happened.
easy.
Yeah. We want you to think about not the game, but instead our questions.
Exactly.
Dear PB, are speedrunner drills a thing? Athletes do general exercises and drills like lifting weights or running that help build solid fundamentals and foundations. Are there similar things for speedrunning, like drills for reaction time, rhythm/timing, or God forbid, text mashing from Training Tryhard? There could be.
There could be,
I mean,
but like not really.
Yeah.
Yes
I was gonna say,
and no.
Isn't the equivalent to that just kind of practice?
Yeah, I would just think it's
that's
practice.
what I was thinking.
Like people
It's
have
just the
individual
same thing.
things that they'll do to warm up sometimes, right?
Right.
Like if it's like a trick that you need to that's like hard, people will like warm up that if there's
That's what I do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
stuff like
definitely. Before a run, I'll do something specifically that may have given me trouble before.
Mhm.
that. Yeah, sometimes
That's
I'll like,
definitely a
I'm
thing.
just gonna check this movement quickly to make sure that I'm like not doing something weird
Exactly, yeah.
before I get committed. Like that's the closest thing I could think of to like a drill. I don't think there's anything that's like universal. Like there's nothing you can like really universalize.
The only thing I can think of is like the human benchmark test. You like test your reaction time,
I guess.
and that's really it. Like you can kind
Yeah.
of just practice that for just reaction time, but for the most part, you're gonna want to be doing it in the context of a speedrun. So just practice,
Yeah, and, like,
basically.
It's just a fact, like the matter of like video games have a lot of like patterns of interaction that they will follow. Just like there are things that are pretty normalized, and just in terms of like button controls and like mechanics and stuff. But they all are individual, so you can't truly generalize anything. The closest you could possibly do is generalize to like a series. But even then, it's like
Dancing.
even then, it's like I don't really know how you would necessarily make like a drill regiment out of it. It's just kind of
Yeah.
do what works best for you, I would say.
Yeah, it is
yeah,
very
I mean, it's
individualized.
also- Yeah, definitely. I mean, like, I personally, most of the time, when I'm about to do a long run, I don't really do anything to mentally prepare. I just kind of get up and go. But obviously, that's
Yeah.
not going to work for everyone.
I mean, I don't warm up before anything I do, which is like maybe obvious if anybody's ever watched me do runs.
Yeah, especially for like the extra long stuff, you can, unless it's like at one of those levels, one of those like few runs where it's like this 24-hour run is actually optimized, you can afford to not play perfectly.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if it's something with a lot more RNG too,
Yeah.
then like you have a bit more leeway. Or if it's a less serious category.
Right.
But yeah, as in terms of text mashing, I would not practice text mashing.
Yeah,
really.
don't do it more than you need to.
Yeah, it's not good for your hands. It's quite
Yeah,
bad.
If you really want to, you can just idly do it during like a cutscene or something, just to keep your
Yeah.
hands busy.
I guess
But-
the closest thing I do is I'll practice text mashing while playing games casually without realizing it, just 'cause I'm used to it.
I feel like there are definitely a lot of speedrunners who don't value their hands enough. Like
I
with
would
the whole mashing thing.
wholeheartedly agree
absolutely.
with that.
Yeah.
Like for me personally, I have this little ritual. As soon as I know I have any downtime to put the controller down, I will always put the controller down and
That's
just kind
smart.
of move my hands around.
I try to have like I guess like I have like more resting positions that I'll do for when I know during a game like, oh, I don't have to mash for a bit. Which like the games that I play have an insane amount of mashing, but
Yeah,
that's the worst
it
part about
becomes like it becomes subconscious as well after a while. Like I'm doing it in this run. Like when I get a star, I have like a moment. I'm just gonna shake my hand out a little bit.
yeah. Especially in a game like that you and I have both been running of Arceus, where it's like an insane amount of mashing, and there's not like a great way to do it optimally. You got to take the opportunities where you can get them. And like once you understand the mashing technique for the game, like I don't think there's as much like the skill floor and the skill ceiling for mashing. I've always felt are very close.
Yeah.
Unless you're willing to like do crazy stuff that will damage your hands. Which is why I'm pro turbo.
Yeah, turbo.
Turbo.
Yeah.
Or other related quality of life fixes that mash the game for you.
Yeah.
And it's not even just that. Like I've seen people say, "Oh yeah, well stuff like turbo allows me to actually run a game that I couldn't run."
Yeah, I know. I've seen that before too. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, so its accessibility is generally good. So
I would agree with that. I would say that letting people do the thing is maybe a better end goal than like mashing. The purity of mashing.
Yeah. Mashing is not a skill you should be incredibly proud of.
No, I agree.
Like, you can be good at it, but don't hurt yourself.
Exactly. Like I don't in any sport in general, right? Like I don't feel like I can't think of like a sports example where like people are proud of doing something that like will destroy them eventually. And people are like, yeah, that's cool and good, other than like pitching.
Yeah.
And at least they get paid an insane amount of money to do it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of examples that would be reasonable for that, but yeah.
Yeah. Or I guess all of football.
Yeah.
But like these are all things that are generally considered like bad things that you do to your body, and at least in that case, like you're getting paid a lot of money for it.
The moral of the story is, if you're getting paid a lot of money, you can hurt yourself.
Yeah, and even then, it's not great.
It's usually not worth it.
Yeah, like,
yeah, I mean,
anyways,
money gets spent. Your body's forever. So
yeah, I mean, what is labor really? But selling damaging your body for money. All right, Tippi, what's your comfort run, and do you recommend it?
By comfort run, like the run that makes me feel like happy. I don't know, cozy.
Yeah, like if you're like, what's the run that you're like this? Like if you had to pick a run, if you were trapped in a desert island with only one speed run, what would you pick?
It's gonna be the run I'm doing right now. Not this run.
That makes sense.
But the run, the PLA Catchmore, the one that I.
You're out of your mind.
It's fun. It genuinely is just fun.
I've never seen you stream it without getting extremely mad at the RNG.
Okay, the thing is, I have like 2 layers of anger. There's the mild frustration that you see a lot, and then there's actually angry, which is honestly, if the game is bullying me and I'm quiet, that's when you know I'm mad.
Yeah, that's fair. I feel that. The difference between like I just had a really weird deja vu moment of discussing. Okay, the difference.
So it hasn't been done before.
Okay, I don't think it has. I don't think we've had this game on the show before. Yeah, the difference between just like I'm gonna be mad, or like I'm mad, but I'm gonna play it up for content, versus like I would like to not be here, please.
Yeah.
Also, another fun thing with 64 there, walls don't exist. Really cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
Nice.
Walls are, if you think about it, walls are just, that's deep, if you think about it, right? Like, you don't,
walls are just.
Actually, or no, walls are unjust. I don't know. I was gonna say, like, you can get through any wall.
That's
Don't let any
Yeah.
wall stop you from being
it's
a
not
star.
true.
Just need a big enough hammer.
Yeah.
I was
So
gonna
while-
say as well, to add on to the comfort run thing, is that could change every week though. I
that's
have
fair.
this thing where I'll get like super into a run, and I'll just want to do it all the time, which is just what's happening now. But then in 2 weeks, when either I get like a great run or I've just played it enough, I'll never want to play it again.
Do you mean
I
hyper
do that.
focus?
I do that too. Absolutely.
Yeah, I do that all. Well, I get like weird where I like will like get really into a run and then I'll like go on a trip or something, and then I'll like break my hyper focus, and then I'll just never like I won't go back to it until at some point I'll just get back to be like, oh yeah, this was fun. I should do another 300 attempts of Alpha Sapphire.
Yeah, I've run like 2, maybe 3 games for more than like 3 months consistently, and I'm very good at dropping speed games.
Yeah, it's the best. I love not committing to stuff.
Yeah.
You're getting ratioed by that rabbit.
I did not. I refute that bonk.
What? I don't. The rabbit. What's the name of the rabbit again?
Mips.
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 Yeah. The like the assembly language.
Like literally, that's why it's called that.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I
It's,
did not.
it's from the architecture in the 64. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that 64 was a MIPS architecture system.
Yep.
Here I was being like, every time I see it, I'm like, oh, like the thing that I
Accidentally
learned.
memeing into the right answer.
Yeah, I showed none of
with the
my work
knowledge,
and got the right
maybe you
answer.
should be doing the run.
True. I just have all the lore on accident. Dear PB, do you think world record caliber speedrunners are just born with that natural talent, or is it something that is achieved with good old-fashioned hard work? From Philosophical Fan. Spell with a PH.
Fan.
Which I did not catch that joke till I read it aloud. I think that it is the former. No, the latter.
People are
And-
naturally good.
Yeah, we're
I
just
don't
waiting for the one true like runner in each game.
When
I think-
when it comes to speedrunning, especially, like obviously this discussion is different when it comes to like real sports.
What do you mean? Is this not a real sport?
I'm getting to esports. I feel like there definitely is some split of natural talent and hard work, but it's more towards being or hard work rather.
That's how I feel too.
Yeah, it's like oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say my general view is it's like, let's say you defining talent as just like an innate ability that one just possesses. Okay, one just possesses to be good at the game, right? I still feel like if someone doesn't have any of that, they can still reach the same point as one who picks it up immediately. I think it's just it takes longer. But I don't
Yeah.
think that, my genuine belief is just that anyone can be a world record holder in a game if they have the time. Let's say infinite time.
Yeah.
I
agree with that.
absolutely agree with that.
Outside of like physical limitations, I guess.
Right.
Where,
Because there really isn't any, like, I guess with some exceptions, like Wii Fit, there aren't like physical like boundaries to get into speedrunning.
Like I
for
don't
the
think
most
I could
part.
be like a world record holder in Pokemon Ranger, a game that I've tried to run,
Right.
and when I cannot move my hand fast enough to do this. But like that is an exception, not a rule. And like, yeah, I
Right.
agree with the idea that like natural born talent to whatever that means is like a head start, not a
Yeah. I
Not
feel like
like-
it makes it could make you a better runner faster, but not necessarily overall. Like
Yeah,
if
I feel like
someone
that's-
without as much has more time to put into it, they'll
Yeah.
put the time into it, learn everything, and get good at it.
Yeah, and I feel like that applies to most of anything, right? Like
Yeah.
the person who puts 1,000 hours into something
Mhm.
is going to be better than a person who puts 100 hours into something, but like maybe was better at hour 10.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, like you can be better earlier, but
yeah,
at an
It might-
infinite time thing, you'll eventually be equal.
exactly. Like the peak is the same, even if the floor is
Yeah.
different.
It's just a matter of putting in the work which is difficult for people due to
Yeah.
motivation or time or whatever.
And a lot of times when you see people or runners who like jump into a game and immediately do really, really well, like a lot of that, like that tends to be because of all of their prior practice, right?
Yeah, I was gonna bring up like if you're a good player in Super Mario Galaxy, you're probably going to be good in Super Mario Galaxy 2 without
Yeah.
a ton of trying. Obviously,
If
there's
you're-
different
Right.
things, but like different than someone who's never played the game before.
Plus, like, even if it's a totally different type of game, right? Like your mindset, like that's a thing you practice as well.
Right, like you
Like,
know
you're-
how to
Yep.
speedrun.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there are definitely transferable skills in multiple games.
Yeah, like I
Um,
was looking at speedrunning a game and I was like, this game looks like Hollow Knight. There's going to be Hollow Knight players running it, and there
Yeah.
are, and
Yep.
they're doing well. So,
but that doesn't mean that you can't also be good at the game that isn't Hollow Knight. Yeah, I do
Yeah,
love it.
I was gonna say, if you ever want to get into a game but feel intimidated because other people are bad, that just you can be there. You just, if you really want it, you can get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everyone was at some point, someone was better than them.
Yeah. And
Like-
honestly, most of the time, or for 99.9% of people, there is always someone better than you, and that's honestly, you should take that as a tool or like a motivational tool.
Yeah.
that's true.
Rather
And
than
also,
even
like,
if, even if you have the
touchdown.
world record, you might not be the best player.
True. And also, like, you don't, like, there aren't that many people that hold a ton of world records, honestly. In terms of, like, big games, right?
Mhm.
Like, even in Pokemon, I think, like, the most that somebody's held of, like, major categories is, like, 4, which, like, is a lot, but there's a ton of different games, right? And, like, that's the most transferable skills between Pokemon games. And even
Right.
then, like, like, somebody who puts a lot of time into one game over another is going to be better at that one game.
Yeah.
So just do the thing. I don't
Do
think
the
actually
thing.
I don't think this person was actually asking if they should do the thing, but you should do the thing.
No, but we did get on a motivational tangent, which is always good.
Look,
If
It's
you are thinking of getting into a game, but you don't think you have talent, you do. But also
Speedrunner's
do
Got
the thing.
Talent, my new TV show.
New podcast.
Oh, that'd be fun.
That's a lot of work.
It's like, it's the opposite of this show. Because this show is where we show off speedrunners like having like, just flubbing every trick because we talk to them. But as speedrunners got talent, you just do the run. Wait,
Isn't
that's
that-
just GDQ.
That's just a marathon.
Yeah. It's just a marathon. Well, okay.
Wait a minute.
Okay,
I've
no,
heard
we
of
get
this before.
speedrunners. We make them sing.
Oh, yeah, we make them do other skills while speedrunning.
Yeah.
Alright.
Wait, that's what this is.
I'm not volunteering for the pilot
Sorta.
of this.
All right,
If
so
you
get
can
excited.
juggle and speedrun, please get in contact with us.
Twitter.com/Speedrunners Got Talent Pod. Our first episode will feature Tippi,
Who
who
will be
is going to
playing the
sing
game
Jump Up Superstar for us
continually for
while
1
while doing jump rope
hour.
in
Ooh,
Odyssey.
That's a reference.
That sounds hard.
It does.
Sorry,
I'm
I was
so
really
bad at the jump
focused
rope
on
in
this to
Anyways.
not die.
I'm so bad at the jump rope in Odyssey. I don't. Every time I watch people who are good at it be that, I go, I don't. I
Okay.
just don't have the talent for it. I'll never be good at it. Darn.
Well,
Then
with
it's
enough
time for me
practice.
to show off. It's time for me to show off and say, almost every time I'm doing that moon in the run, I'm not looking at the screen.
Oh my god.
Ooh, Speedrunner's
Blindfold.
got talent.
Speedrunner's Got Talent. You could sing Jump Up Superstar during it. You gotta be on our show. It's gonna be really good. This is like
Of
this
course.
isn't even. We've had so many different spin-off ideas for this show that you all don't know about. This is a one of the better ones, I would say, and it's a good episode title.
Yeah.
It's a good episode title. Dear PB, how do you prepare and plan for very long speedruns? Kind of had to talk about this earlier, but
Whoa.
even though I'm a Pokemon runner, my runs are about 3 to 4 hours long on average. Anything longer than 5 hours is extremely challenging and taxing for me. For very long runs, how do you deal with things like food, mental state, bodily functions, and for the extremely long runs, sleep? From Long-Term Lethargic.
Ooh.
I'll go first, and I'll just say poorly.
You don't.
Whenever I used to run Let's Go Diploma back in the day, I would frequently end with a migraine because I didn't drink enough water and was staring at a
Nice.
screen for too long, which was a bad mix. I am now better about it because I have better lighting and stuff, but that was an issue for a while.
Yeah, that sounds unfun.
It wasn't great. I don't recommend doing that. Don't be dumb like me.
I have done 2 long runs. One was 13 hours and one was 50.
50 is ridiculous.
For the 50-hour run, I ordered pizza, and it was Super Smash Bros. Brawl challenges. So I was doing classic mode when my pizza got there, and I went to go get the pizza, and I won the stage I was in because the CPUs just died. So I progressed in my speedrun while getting pizza, so that was good.
Smart, yeah.
I took sleep breaks every once in a while. The run kind of forces you to hang out for like 6 hours anyways, but the route I did was even more. So I slept. I lost time to sleeping because my alarm didn't go off, and I lost like an hour and a half because I overslept. How many speedruns do you have that where you can lose time to sleeping?
Well, I mean, a lot of runs or rule sets are a lot more
Yeah.
like modern about that too, which I'll talk about in a second.
Yeah, this was back in 2018 before the modernization of long runs.
Before Breath of the Wild really like
Yeah, basically
it was, yeah, exactly.
Otherwise, I didn't take it super seriously. So if I had to go to the bathroom, I went to the bathroom. I didn't hurt myself by not doing that. And I feel like I mentioned earlier, the super long runs where you will have to like worry about sleep and stuff. If it's not already baked into the schedule or the rule set that you can do that without like adding it to your timer, just do it. Don't hurt yourself for a video game. It's not worth it. Otherwise, I just drank a lot of water too, and kept myself
if you're
busy.
running a game that's like a long category and your community doesn't have rules for sleep breaks, then that is a conversation that you should have. Again, like as we hinted at before, Breath of the Wild kind of like as far as I know, Breath of the Wild is the one that really popularized that.
Pretty much, yeah, because that's one of the most popular like long runs, like 18+ hour runs.
And like there's nothing to gain from not just allowing people to take a break.
Yeah.
Like it's just dumb.
Yeah, I feel like if your run is longer than 14 hours, you should.
I think
we
allow
have the right to a break.
I think in Pokemon we allow it for Switch Pokemon. I think we allow it for 10 or 8 or 10. It's like pretty. Our threshold's a lot shorter.
That is pretty reasonable, yeah.
Yeah. Just because like people need to go to the bathroom, and like we don't want to like accidentally encourage people to be like, well, I'm gonna get world record by like exploding my bladder.
I did not go to the bathroom, therefore I win.
Exactly. That is bad.
You won, but at what cost?
So when we were trying to introduce a break for all moons, people were trying to talk about how others would metagame the system, which was a big problem as well, I think. And I imagine it carries over to other games as well when regarding a break system. Because you don't want to introduce breaks and then have it be, well, basically you have to take these breaks at this time because otherwise you will lose time.
Right.
Yeah, like your system should be...
Yeah, the example specifically was in Odyssey, let's say 100% or all moons. You have to jump 10,000 times for a moon.
Yeah.
And people were talking about metagaming the system where you could take a break halfway through jump farm because it's literally 5 minutes straight of just shaking the controller, which is physically strenuous.
Yeah.
So taking the break halfway through means you could recover. So people were talking about like doing that, and then
is that so bad though?
Yeah, right.
Well, the thing is that means you're forced to take the break there, otherwise you're going to lose time.
That makes sense.
That was the issue.
Oh, so you couldn't use it elsewhere. Okay.
Right. So instead of breaking when you wanted to, you basically had to during that segment.
Yeah, but like I
because
feel like that's
otherwise it would just hurt.
I feel like that's not that hard of a problem to solve though, because you can just be like,
we
allow a break for the shaking part, for example, or something like that.
I think what we did was instead the ultimate solution was you're only allowed to pause the home screen when you're picking up like a moon, like when you've got a cutscene going, which I mean is basically all the time. But the shaking segment is basically non-stop. There's no moons there. So it was, I don't know, it was just how they wanted to do it, essentially.
Yeah. like that's the thing I feel about it is that, like, people will come up with hypotheticals of like, well, you could do this, and then that would abuse the break rules, so we shouldn't have them. And it's like, no, you can fix pretty much any sort of problem like
Right.
that. And
You
like,
can make exceptions to it.
yeah, and like even if somebody does then find some other exploit in your rules, you can patch the rules. They're not totally immutable. Like people do run like runs happen where then they're then invalidated after the fact all the time in speedrunning because of just like rule oversights and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, like all speedrunners are just human, so naturally there will just be loopholes.
Like any rule set, all rule sets are fake, so like they're not going to be perfect.
Rules.
Well, I'm not even necessarily say break the rules. I'm just saying like your rule set is not going to cover everything, but that's not a reason to not try to like allow for good things. The enemy of good is perfect and all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, breaks are good. If your game doesn't allow breaks, you should bring that up.
Breaks
For
are
long
good.
runs. Like a short run, you don't need a break.
I need a break in a 10, 15 minute run.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, like 8 hours is a lot, anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
And then if you go longer, it's rough.
Yeah. Just also, if you don't know what like if you don't know where to start with bringing that up, take a look at Breath of the Wild's rules. They're really good.
Yeah. I think they have a system that's kind of like you get like a break bank. So like you're
exactly.
So I have it up now. You're given breaks. You're given 3 breaks within an 18-hour pool, and then at 30 hours you get an extra break and another 9 hours. So
yeah, it's a smart way of doing it.
It's basically the more you run, the more breaks you're allowed to take.
Yeah, because like you don't want to have a system where like you get 2 breaks, then somebody who's like doing it for the first time and is taking a lot longer then gets stuck where they don't feel like they can take any more breaks.
Right.
And you also don't want to get into a situation where like, or it's also good because it becomes like applicable to anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's very open, or yeah.
Going back, I was gonna say going back to the original question because I never really gave much on that one. I was gonna say like generally, and I know this isn't the best advice, but it is probably the most the smartest advice is whenever I do a long run, if mentally I find it a lot easier because I will detach myself from actually caring about the final time, because for me, doing the long run is more about finishing a long run than having an amazing time in a long run. And if I need to go to the bathroom, I'm going to the bathroom. Like, I don't care if I lose time. And I know that's not everybody can just be like okay with that, but this is the thing. Long runs aren't generally optimized because of things like this in the first place.
Yeah, I run a more like I run a run that, or a longer run that is like more optimized than the average, I would say too. And even then, it's like I'm not going to get committed to this thing until like there's maybe 45 minutes left.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
part of that's just because there's a lot of randomness. But...
too.
Yeah, exactly.
For Brawl, I was watching a run that was for the all challenges that was like 40 whatever hours, and we accidentally found a 4-hour time save.
Accidentally.
So yeah,
that's the opposite. That's the opposite of my Shenmue runs, where I missed a trigger and it's because that game progresses in real time. I just lost 50 minutes.
Oh no!
And just had to wait.
Yeah, so
that was rough.
So what we had done before is we used a hammer on getting all CDs. But it turns out that getting all CDs is not actually that slow. We just thought it was because it doesn't sound like fun. So doing that let us skip another thing that took like 4 extra hours, and now we don't have to do that anymore, and it saves a lot of time in an already 36-hour world record game.
It does sound like getting all the CDs would take a while. Yeah,
it's because there's
Is it just like you do enough stuff that you're going to get them all essentially?
Yeah,
anyways?
so There's already a challenge to like get like 50 or whatever, and there's only like 72 in the game or something.
Oh,
You get a
okay.
lot through challenges too. But the thing is, there's also stickers in the game that you can get through the same means as getting CDs, and
Yeah.
those are bad because stickers can be duplicates, but CDs cannot.
Oh.
So if you get a CD, you know you're progressing your challenge count. So
Got it.
like
That makes sense.
with enough time, and it takes maybe an extra like 30 minutes. You
When are
just
you going
get all
back?
of them.
When are you going back to Brawl Swoost?
Nope.
Nope.
Maybe eventually as a sub goal I'll do another all challenges run, but right now
I didn't necessarily
good.
mean all challenges. Actually,
Yeah, I know. That's probably like the only condition that I would. I did the any percent tournament in like December.
That's true. I was gonna say I have seen you run this like not that long ago.
I did it a couple months ago, and it was an experience.
Played Brawl in many years.
Yeah, same. The last time I played Brawl would have technically been college, but it definitely wasn't Brawl. It was definitely Project M.
Modified Brawl. Last time I played Brawl was Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that's just a speedrunner thing. I feel like we always say stuff like we'll never go back to this game or that game, but I feel like you never really get out of it. Even if you don't actually run it, you boot it up every once in a while.
I've not booted up Crosscode in a while.
I play Brawl competitively regardless, so kind of have
Yeah.
I have that reason at least. But I don't have interest in speedrunning.
I still evangelize the games that I don't necessarily want to run anymore.
Yeah,
I still tell everyone. Yeah, I still tell everyone to play Crosscode, and I like even though I haven't run Crosscode in like a year and a half at least. Probably
That's
coming
what you do
closer.
with Hat.
I'm still on the server and stuff. I listen. That is also what I do with Hat, but I actually I commentate Hat too, though.
Yeah, true.
So like I do still interact more in this even if I'm not actively running the game. Like I commentate a lot of Hat.
Mm-hmm.
Because I still know everything about it.
Suggesting someone to play the game.
Yeah, it's fair. Play Hat, people. It's good. It's a good run.
Yeah.
People like my server's trying to convince me to derust it, and I'm like,
You should, because everyone else is playing it. We're gonna peer pressure you into it.
I gotta do Conquest.
No, you don't.
I do.
No, you don't.
I said I would.
No.
I gotta not speedrun and instead play my MMO.
No.
Okay, well, I guess I have to quit my MMO. You all heard it here first. Dear PB. Wait, which one was I on? Did we do the one about? Yes. Hi, this is post-production May, the May that gets added in after the fact. Did you know we have a Patreon? If you're already a Patreon subscriber, this message isn't for you. Thank you, we love you, you can tune out for this part. But if you're not, for only $3 a month, you can get access to episodes early and get a bonus episode at least once per month. The bonus episodes are like different from the regular episodes. They're a lot more unhinged, which is kind of saying something. You get access to all the ones we've already done, even if you subscribe now, so that's cool. We don't want to have to run ads during this program, because ads suck, and supporting us via the Patreon helps us not have to do that. You can check it out at patreon.com/dearpbpod if you're interested and can afford to do so. You're already supporting us by listening to the show and telling others about it, so this is kind of like a bonus thing you could do if you really like it. Okay, cool, I'm done, bye. Dear PB, help, I think I have the yips. I've been grinding a game for the past 2 weeks and lost a run to a trick that requires setup and some input timing. I never had an issue with this trick before, and now I find myself second-guessing myself and missing the trick in runs and have lost several runs to it now. I practiced the trick, but I find myself second-guessing my timing and tinkering with the setup to the point where I can't get the trick at all, and now I feel a bit hopeless executing this trick. Do you have any tips to overcome the yips? Oh, that's a fun rhyme.
Ooh.
From Yips Tips.
Yips Tips.
Yips Tips.
This sounds identical to Manor Hover.
Yeah. Read the inner game of tennis. That's an unironic advice. It's a very good book, and pretty much the entire point of it that I'll now spoil if you haven't read it before is that if you sometimes you just need to let your like body's muscle memory take over and not think about stuff. And when you overthink stuff, you'll tend to make more mistakes if you've like truly gotten it down at some point.
Yeah.
Because you start second guessing yourself as you've sort of self diagnosed. So yeah, read that. It's good. But also,
Yeah, you can
like,
either not do it for a while and then come back to it with your like latent muscle memory as
yeah.
well.
Also, sometimes just like you get in a rut. It happens to everyone.
Yeah.
Like the mental side of speedrun, or the mental side of any sort of like high skill activity is difficult to keep super consistent. Like, and even like people doing it for a job, like, right? Like you look at sports and you see like I mean, that's where the yips comes from, right? Is like sports players who have like or get stuck in a rut and can't and start performing way below their actual skill level, but then eventually are usually able to break out of it. Like, I guess my best advice is like don't beat yourself up too hard over it. Like, it happens,
Yeah.
and the best thing you can really do for yourself is to just either walk away from it for a bit, or just try to like reconsider or like self-reflect on it and figure out like what you're doing mentally, because it's almost certainly a mental thing.
Yeah, I mean,
Alternatively,
say-
sorry, if there was a
No, go
patch
ahead.
and you didn't realize.
Yeah, it got patched.
Okay, go.
Sorry, I went a million miles away because I was trying to remember if I got a star or not. I was gonna say, like, especially in speedrunning, if it's a specific trick, most of the time there's always something you can do instead that really isn't gonna lose much time anyway. So it's a lot easier, even if you want to continue doing the run, to just avoid it for a while, which is nice because it's definitely like this is a more flexible, hobby activity generally. Because you can just mix up what you're doing at any time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been having trouble with some of the clips in Murder. So I was just like, I don't want to play the level. I'm going to do the route that doesn't do the levels. And then I did that, and it felt good because I didn't have to worry about it.
And you gotta do Village. I hate Village.
It's fine.
Another option as well, do a different category for a bit.
Yeah.
That's another one.
Or just play a different game, like I mentioned earlier. Just get your mind away from it, and then when you come back to it, you won't be fresh to it because you'll still have the muscle memory because you obviously know how to do it, but you won't really be in the same mental state of like, oh, I need to pay too much attention to this. You'll kind of just do it.
But even if if you want to like still be getting practice in for the game, right? You could always just do a different category or try learning a different category even. If you don't know another category already,
do that annoying trick.
Yeah, so you're still playing the game, but you have some distance from that one trick. But yeah, I think Tippi's advice of like a route around it temporarily, while you're in the rut,
that is always really
good.
helpful.
And then read the inner game of tennis. This has been my inner game of tennis evangelist moment or minute.
Please
I guess.
sponsor us, Inner Game of Tennis.
I don't think we're gonna get sponsored by the book, The Inner Game of Tennis. I think it's like, also I'm pretty sure that book came out like 70 years ago.
It came out in 74.
74,
so
okay, 50 years ago.
Is the author still alive?
I don't know.
Yes.
Okay, please sponsor us.
He is 84 years old and has most recent book is from 2009.
Okay.
So
The Inner
And
Game.
he's a DFPB fan.
And it's a Dear PB fan. You heard it here first.
It is called the Inner Game of Stress.
Oh.
And it's about stress.
I would assume. That does check out.
So, I will be in contact. Please consider.
Timmy, do you have a speed game that you've been dying to talk about?
A speed game that I've been dying to talk about?
Just like something that's maybe a game that's under discussed, a game that you're really into.
Is this my platform where I can tell people to never play Captain Toad?
Sure.
That is the other half of the question.
That's the other half of the question, is what you've been dying to complain about.
Don't play Captain Toad. Or at least don't speedrun it. Honestly, it sounds so nice and innocent. It's the most brutal speed game I've ever played. At least specifically 100%. Because every level in that game has a very tight target time, and my favorite part about it is if you get the target time in your first run through, you've already done it, right? You haven't unlocked the target time straight away, so you can't see them. So, but if you do them on your first go around, you'll save time because obviously you won't have to do them again later.
Okay.
And they're tight to the second. So
Wait, like,
literally you can do everything perfectly and still not hit it because you just didn't cut corners tightly enough or something.
That's weird because I feel like most speedrun style objectives in games are like difficult for casuals and trivial for speedrunners.
Right.
I think the issue is because you also have to get things like gems and such per level. I think they actually updated the game. They actually updated the game to include a restart level without dying, which actually made things better. But I stopped running it by then, and I'm going to complain about it anyway.
Understandable.
Okay, that does make sense if you're trying to like fully complete the levels, and that's not required for the challenges. Yeah. Yeah, that sounds rough.
Yeah.
As for games that I'm enjoy, a game that I love.
I don't know.
This is the problem. It's whenever it's a game I'm not actively playing, I sit there and I think, do I really want to play this game? Do I really want to promote this game?
That's fair. How do you feel about Legends Arceus Catch 'Em All?
So good. But no one's gonna run that because it's almost
so
10
long.
hours.
It's 10 hours.
It's only 10 hours.
Of which three of it is waiting for.
I need to hear the analysis.
It's almost 10 hours, and it's and honestly, there are some runs you just can't finish.
Yeah,
because you just got that unlucky.
That sounds fantastic.
I guess like technically
like
you could finish it, but like what?
Yeah, it will take like an extra couple hours.
Yeah, that. How do you feel about space-time distortions as a mechanic? Are they good?
You know what's funny? Honestly, the distortions aren't what annoy me. It's the weather.
Okay, that's fair. That's like the universal truth of Nintendo open world games, though, is that the weather's annoying.
Yeah. Like, okay, I mean, I don't want to go too like analytical on this because it will take forever, but essentially, space-time distortions, for anyone who doesn't know, they only spawn after a set amount of real time has passed outside of battles and such in an area, and that's fine. Honestly, because most of the distortions you'll hit naturally by catching everything, except for the 40-minute one, the worst one. But certain weather types will make it so distortions can't spawn, and then it will reset the timer, so you might potentially have to wait another 40 minutes. So when that weather happens, you have to pause the timer somehow, which basically just means going into a battle and literally doing nothing for 5 minutes at a time.
See, I've done runs where you literally do nothing, but the difference is that like it wasn't an indeterminate amount of time. It was like, all right, well, it's 34 minutes and you can walk away, which made it a lot more manageable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sounds great. I'm gonna run
because it can hit at any time. It's like because each weather cycle is like 4 to 6 minutes, so at any time the weather it could just start storming, and then it's like, well, I gotta stop playing for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's it's very cool.
It was great this morning because I hit 2 storms back to back, which was 10 minutes. It's brutal, but like I don't know, if you sign up for it, you know.
True. Yeah.
you are getting yourself into it.
Yeah. I don't know. I still feel like you can complain though when like the RNG's real bad, right?
I complain when my RNG. Yeah, I complain when my RNG is amazing and then it takes it all away.
Yeah.
It's like it.
The false hope is rough.
I'm being bullied.
Pokemon does love to give you false hope. You're like, wow, I win. Nope, never mind. Cool. Video games are great.
Anytime you say something nice about a run, it goes terribly.
Yes.
That is true.
And anytime I give myself props, I immediately get dunked on.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like, that segment was good. It's like, yeah, it was a good segment. I golded by 5 seconds. The next one, you're like, plus 5 minutes. It's like, all right, well, I had that one good one earlier.
Why do you think they put a mic in the DS? It's to punish speedrunners.
I'm gonna unplug my mic next time I play a game.
That reminds me of what Swift was telling me about how the mic affects RNG in Gen 5.
Yeah, in Gen 5.
Like that is hilarious to me.
But people, I love that one because it's honestly quite smart.
I'm not aware of this, but I do like it from a coding concept.
Exactly, yeah. There's a lot of entropy in that.
Yeah.
It's so good because it sounds so fake.
Right.
It sounds so unbelievable.
But thinking about it, it's no, that totally makes sense, and it's it's a good authentic RNG.
Yeah, that's gonna give you way truer RNG than anything you could do on chip. So
Nintendo is spying on you, but they're also influencing your RNG.
Big
Confirmed.
Nintendo just wants your runs to die.
Yeah, they do.
Go to our conspiracy website.
Dear PB Conspiracies Pod.
Yeah. There's only
dark.
There's only one way that you can help fight against this conspiracy, and that's by subscribing to our Patreon at patreon.com/dearpbpod.
That's a great segue.
Thank you. I thought that was really, really clean. Speaking of things about the podcast itself that I should have mentioned at the beginning and forgot, we're doing a live show in 2 weeks as of time of recording at Midwest Speed Fest.
Whoa.
So if you're going to be at VGMCon, VGMCon,
yes.
GDCon's the other one. If you're going to be at VGMCon, you can come to the Midwest Speed Fest room at 1:30 on Saturday, I think.
Something like that. I need to get my ticket for VGMCon. I'm going to do that right now.
You should do that. You should do that. You should do that after our podcast is over.
I'm doing it right now.
Oh my
God. While
God.
the podcast is happening.
But yeah, you can come ask us questions and then watch Swoops play a Hat in Time during it. And if you're not going to be there, you'll be able to watch it at twitch.tv/MidwestSpeedFest. So I expect you all to be there either virtually or not virtually.
Digitally or physically.
Physically,
Digital
that's the
is
word.
faster. Digital's faster, but physical is nicer.
Yeah, exactly. And you can still send in questions for that because we don't know how many people are actually going to be there. So having questions would be nice.
We also have surprise guests.
We do. I assume that literally all of Minneapolis is going to be there for our live show, but in the the really low chance that that's not the case, then it'd be good to have some questions. So send those in. You said something. I don't remember what it was.
Who's you?
You.
Me?
Swoos.
Yeah, be there. It'll be cool.
Okay, cool. Yeah, be there. It'll be cool. I'm out of questions. Hold on. I thought these were going to last longer, but we're just so freaking efficient.
We're doing great.
How would you suggest Dear PB, we always start them with Dear PB. I'm falling apart. Dear PB, how would you suggest getting over the anxiety over joining an existing and tight-knit speedrun community? I know the answer is just start interacting with people, but I feel like my forays in that regard haven't accomplished much, which only makes the anxiety worse. From Anxious About Association.
I felt this one, to be honest.
Interacting with people.
Then why don't you lead us off?
It's hard. I mean, it is. The answer is always just going to be just talk to people, but it is hard. I get that. It's weird because I feel like sometimes people might think it's the opposite for me because I'm the one that's the streamer most of the time.
Yeah.
But it's hard because it's all these people. I feel like when I play a new speed game and I join a Discord for it, I feel like, oh my god, everyone here is so much smarter than me. I don't want to say something stupid.
Yeah, I get that.
But you just kind of have to. I'd say you can take baby steps, just responding to a comment or something. Just making yourself a presence. Eventually, you will just get there. It's small steps at first, and eventually, before you know it, you will literally just be an active member of that community.
Yeah, it's
people
hard
will
for
just
me
recognize your name.
It's hard to give an answer that isn't have you considered not having social anxiety as somebody who has anxiety?
Yeah, exactly. Impossible.
Part of the thing is if I knew the answer to this question, that I wouldn't have anxiety.
We would all be in better shape here.
I was going to say, any step you take is a step forward. Small shaky steps still count.
True.
Yeah. I mean, the first step is pretty much always introduce yourself. Who are you? What do you do? What do you run? And then from there, you might find someone with other common interests.
Yeah. Also,
then-
if you just start running a thing, if you start running something, people will show up.
Especially if it's a smaller game.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, triply
Yeah.
so.
You'd be surprised how many people will just be excited. They'll be like, oh my god, someone else is running the game I like.
Someone's
That's
running
what
this
I do.
game. Yeah.
I do that, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. Again, like all of our advice is pretty much just like it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Do the thing
it
you don't
won't
want to
be as-
do.
I mean,
but-
the specific takeaway is you can go at your own pace. You don't have to force yourself to become. Whoop, there I go. You don't have to force yourself to immediately just become this massive presence in the community, right? Like,
Yeah.
just saying hi every once in a
Right.
while. Eventually, people will recognize your name. Then you can kind of feel more comfortable talking more.
Just
It's
like,
like,
don't be
like,
weird.
As
Also-
someone in a community looking in, if I see a name that I don't recognize in a Discord, I'll just make a mental note of it or something.
Mhm.
And then if I see them keep talking, I'm like, oh, okay, this person's like, people will just remember your name because they've seen it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
the
it just happens over time. It's not an immediate thing,
the plural of posting once is being part of the community.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
there's not really like a magic threshold, right? You just kind of show up, then eventually people are like, "You're a person we know," and everyone has been in this situation before.
Yeah.
Everybody started somewhere, so you are not the first to go through this. It'll be fine.
And after this podcast, you will be the last, because everyone else will get perfect introduce yourself strats down.
Is that how that jump was supposed to go?
Yes.
Okay.
TikTok clock is
Yeah,
bullying me right now.
everyone's gonna be super perfect at having anxiety, which is the advice I think we gave. Is like, well, we all do it, and it works. It kind of works for us. So,
It is difficult, but you can do it. This is a
Yes.
pep talk.
I mean, I also say, like, if it helps, there are definitely a lot of other people who are experiencing exactly what you're experiencing.
yeah, that's what I was trying to get at before.
Yeah.
It's
So
like
long
even
as there are new
even
runners.
even the people that are also already talking that you're looking at, like from the outside looking in, the people that you see have probably been in exactly the position you're feeling right now.
Yeah, exactly. Like, at some point, everybody had to take a step and be like, I am going to try to get to know these people and become a name that people know. And the difference between somebody who's been a community or like who's like well known and somebody who is in your position is that the person who's well known has been around for a while. Like, that's it. Like, even if somebody isn't like a big known like streamer or anything like that too, like there are people who are still like very well known within a community.
Yeah, definitely. Like
Yeah,
people like
I,
glitch hunters and
Yeah.
strat finders, just tons of people that just have built the community into ways. Not everybody's a streamer.
Yeah, and if
Yep.
like if the idea of like joining the community at large is scary to you, you can try joining a streamers community and then migrating over from there, because then you have like
Mhm.
one step at a time sort of thing. That's an option.
Yeah, you kind of incrementally like build up your own, I guess, like knowledge base or like group
Yeah.
that has the same interest, and
Yeah.
from there you can.
The way I think about that, it's kind of like when you go to a party and you know a couple people,
Mhm.
and so then like it's way easier to talk to other people if there's like at least one other person there that you're like, oh, BLJ time.
No, I
FLJ.
could go back if you want.
Oh wait, okay. Yeah, it's like when you go to a party and like if you know one or two people at the very least, like you have somebody that like
Yeah, that's a
you
really good
can-
way of putting it.
yeah, you can go back to if you're stressed out, or is gonna like back you up and stuff.
Yeah, you basically
and
get
if-
like a vouch in the community.
Yeah, like there have definitely been times where like people have asked me like, oh, this person who submitted a run, I've never heard of them. I'm like, oh yeah, no, they're cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, even knowing people that know people is good. Like in the Super Limo
Yeah.
community, I know literally no one, but my partner knows someone. So like we kind of have that, and now I know them. So it works out.
Also, like, honestly, in this hobby, most people are like to some extent socially anxious or awkward. Like, it's super
Definitely.
common. Like, I wouldn't like literally everybody on this show right now is like, wow, we're kind. None of us are super good at it.
I mean, I say the same thing about most people on Twitch in general, to be honest.
Yeah,
It's kind of just the demographic.
yeah. Like I've met people in person that I know like from their stream, and like people in person, even if they're super outgoing on stream, just tend to be more reserved.
Mm-hmm.
That is me to a T for sure.
That's me.
Yeah, I'm also like that. Like, you don't fall into the idea, I guess, that like, oh, everybody's like a big outgoing Twitch streamer. It's like, nah, honestly, a lot of the big outgoing Twitch streamers are like a lot more soft-spoken in person and more reserved, which is totally fair.
Yeah, I mean, everyone needs some way of recharging, and if that's being kind of reserved on their own, that's totally fine.
We're about to wrap up this though, because we are on the gay Bowser fight.
Yeah,
And so,
I'm having a time.
It's you're fine. Again, as previously explained, this podcast is not designed to make good runs. We have to tell every guest
Yeah.
I'm sure listeners are getting sick of us like joking about this, but it's not actually a joke. It's like, no, the third one is when the run ends, right?
Yeah, when I grab the big star.
When you pick up the star.
When you pick up the star, that's right. There's a star. So yeah, this was Dear PB, a podcast where you send us questions and then we answer them.
Send us questions.
You should send us in more questions. There's a form in the description. You should follow us on Twitter. There's a link in the description, or you can go to twitter.com/dearpppod. You should also check out our Patreon at patreon.com/dearpppod. And you should also check out Tippi, who is now going to advertise herself for your benefit.
Yeah, I mean, basically, I stream every day. I mean, most days per week. I don't really do much besides stream. Like, I don't really have a YouTube. It's just twitch.tv/Tippi. I'd say right now, if you want to see someone catch all the Pokemon in like the new Pokemon game, basically every day, yeah, I'm doing that. That's basically what I'm doing right now. That's my life.
And once again, if you skip to the end and miss us kind of flailing about explaining the live show we're doing a live show in 2 weeks at mid-spring Speed Fling. So check that out too. And I think that's all we got. Yeah?
I think that is everything.
Thanks for joining us on this 9th episode, Tippi. We appreciate it.
Yeah, it's fun.
For the next episode, we'll have Mr. Shasta on, so look forward to that. I think I forgot to announce that you were going to be on this episode because I started doing it like on episode 7 and then episode 6, and then we had to move stuff around, and so I was like, maybe I shouldn't do it, and then I started doing it again.
Just in case.
Just in case. But you know what? Yeah, that's our next episode. Send in your questions. And if you want to be on our follow-up podcast, Speedrunners Got Talent, you could email us about that. Do not actually email us about that. We're not actually doing the show. Okay, bye.
All right, bye.
See ya.